Okay, everyone, it's Thursday. I'm Andrew Dow. Time for our Happening in the Hamptons podcast, our weekly breakdown of the Hamptons market, new listings, and events on the East End. We are sponsored today by New York Title Abstract, the Hamptons' leading title insurance firm. Visit newyorktitle.com. And we are here with Steve Glick, Dave Retainer, and today, return guest, Mr. Ed Bruehl. How are you, sir?
I am well, thank you.
Good to have you back on, as always. So what should we talk about today? It's full swing, summer season. The community, it's awesome out here. I mean, this is the time of year.
Absolutely awesome. I mean, ultimately, we're in the middle of June. June gloom. So this is as bad as it gets, and it's still terrific. Absolutely terrific. And, July gets better. August is unbelievable, and the fall is as good as it gets. So if this is June gloom and it's been super fun and super chill, and the girls are back from college and I'm hanging out with them, I'm happy all's good.
But when you say June gloom, don't you mean the market? Because I've overheard many agents say that June is typically a very slow month for them.
I think Steve told me
historically.
Morning, that Andrew said historically June is our slowest deal generation month.
Yeah, it is. That's where we land in a place where we say, oh, it's the slowest month, just solely based on the data from listings going into contract. Nice. But Ed, things haven't slowed down for you. This is a busy month.
Yeah, it's a busy month, but let's stay with the data, Steve. You shared another perfect point for me. And over the last 7 weeks, right, the weekly meetings, you guys go over the data. It seems to me like 5 of the last 7 weeks have had an uptick in inventory. It might be a humble uptick, but that might become a trend. If we got 5 of 7 of the last weeks have had an inventory increase. That'd be the first time we've had that trend turn. Because we were losing inventory for 4 or 5 years.
It's good to see this. I mean, a healthy market is more listings coming onto the market, listings going into contract. We're trying to have that balance, and we're close to getting to a balance point where it could be the new norm. People say, oh, the inventory is so low. But yes, historically it's low, but it may start leveling out where we start seeing a small uptick in inventory, and this may be the new reality as we come into the second half of the year.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I think that there's a positive spin on that. This could be a normal. That's fine. Why is this a problem? You know what I mean? If there's deals getting done, for example, Will and I run a nice swath of the market, right?
Yep.
$2-3 million is a very active buzz point right now. Over 3, I think much less so. Not that there's no buyers, just a lot less buyers. So in terms of the buzz, I think it's under 3. And if you're under 3 and priced right, those deals are getting done quickly. So the idea that the market isn't active, I completely disagree. We're super active, well-priced houses trade quickly.
So Ed, you represented Watermill Crossing. Okay, there were 34 units. You sold. There's basically 4 left, right? What have you learned from that experience? You talk about this price point under $3 million. What has the Watermill Crossing experience taught you as an agent that you didn't really realize until, after selling all these condo units?
Yeah, thank you for that question. That's a good one. So first, I want to thank Saunders and Jennifer Wilson. There's just no way this gets done without Steve Glick, Dave Retainer, Andrew, Colleen, and Jennifer.
There you go.
No chance.
Thanks, Ed.
With that said, what we learned was, as the phone calls came in, two points. Who was the buyer?
Yep.
Who was the profile? And what were they looking to do with the property? So when we priced it, we were hoping, wouldn't it be great if you got $1,000 a square foot on the highway or close to it, right? So $2.2 million to $2.8 million for a 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 22 to 2,600 square foot unit. We got it. We got that number. And the shocker was to get that price point on the highway and see that much demand still existing, right? So 30 are in contract, 4 more to trade, terrific offerings still remain, great call on those. Those are exciting 4 units. But once they're gone, I think the takeaway is the phone calls still come in and they're asking for, got any 2-2s, like 2-bedroom, 2 baths, got any 3-3s, got any 3-3s under $3 million. Regularly, I have one in Florida, I have one in Aspen, do you have anything in the Hamptons? The Hamptons doesn't have those offerings. Right now, most spec builders are building 5, 6, 7,000 square foot houses with 5, 6, 7 bedrooms. My phone rings 70, 80% of the time looking for, I'll go up to $2 or $3 million, but I only need 2 beds, Ed. What do you got? So I think the market has shifted to a different demand, and I think that the builders in the market will slowly
interesting.
Solve.
And I think originally when we launched this property, my sense was that we're going to get a lot of people downsizing. They have a big home, they want to downsize to easy living, but that didn't turn out to be the case, right?
It didn't. What ended up happening, and the majority of the buyers were, all of them knew the Hamptons. Almost every single one of them has wanted this type of a project in the Hamptons for decades. And the buyer was either 40, 50-year-old daughter, son buying for mom and dad, or mom and dad buying for 40, 50-year-old, 34-year-old children. And I didn't know whether the buyer was the daughter or the mom. And it didn't matter because it was a family transaction that they were making sure they had sort of acquired a good property in the Hamptons, and it was a smart investment and they could use it. And if they needed to rent it, they could rent it. So I loved that it wasn't selling and trading down. It was like, oh, finally the Hamptons has year-round living. Yay. And now the takeaway is what I learned is we need more, like a lot more of it, and smaller and easier. And the demand is through the roof there. So I hope that spec builders and builders, or even people who own smaller
start
houses,
thinking that way. Yeah.
Think a little small.
I was just going to say
Yeah.
the small. Let's do this. 5 months ago, I came in here and I was like, if you own a house for $1.2 million and you see spec houses going up in the fives on your street, call a broker and find a way to expand the house and capture some of that value. Now I'm thinking, and I've seen smart builders move in this direction, don't expand the house. Just bring in a good team and renovate it to 2023. The windows, floors, kitchen,
I agree with that.
bathroom,
I agree
make
with
it a
that.
whole thing up.
Absolutely perfect.
Do the grounds,
I totally
do
agree
the
with that.
driveway, do the garage, paint it all, and either keep it as great value for the family and rent it out, or you put that on the market. You see what I'm saying? Don't go
Totally agree
bigger
with you.
and just find that new buyer who says, wow, no kidding, under, 3 beds, 3 bath on an okay street in the Springs, but it's cute as can
Perfect.
be, and
Yeah.
the street is actually getting better.
And
I
you
love
and
the
you can
Springs anyway,
maintain
so I
it.
love yeah.
Sometimes these bigger homes, you just like,
Yeah.
oh, the maintenance on a lot of work, and when you're only there for like the summer months, you don't want to have to deal with that. You just want something small and
Exactly.
perfect.
I think there's a sort of almost like a movement, nationally and maybe internationally, I don't know, but where people want like smaller, nice, super nice things like quality. I feel like quality over quantity is becoming a more.
Absolutely.
I'm even noticing it
Yeah.
with just fashion. Like I'm noticing people are buying more like, clothes that are intended for like a 10-year purchase that are like really expensive versus like clothes that are just like.
It
Thank
lasts,
you.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you for that.
things that last.
That's really
Yeah.
good. So I want to stay with that. So in this transition period, I agree. Smaller is more important, right?
Yeah.
And they'll give up location for quality, meaning
Oh, that's interesting.
small lot adjacent to a commercial space on Village Fringe. Used to be really unattractive. You would never want to build a big house there. That's not where the big family wants to go. But as a
Yep.
smaller buyer, like you said, looking for quality,
Yeah.
if you put a cute
Right.
2-2 next to an okay location,
Right.
I'm now really interested. So I love that niche.
Make it the perfect version of what it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
and you can't miss. Now, Ed, you talk about inventory, how it's low, but it is coming back up, and there's a lot of product out there. But there's also inventory that is not necessarily on the market, but agents know about these things. There's sellers out there that would sell if they got their number, but they don't want to necessarily
Nice.
list it publicly.
Nice.
So you're
What a
an agent.
terrific question.
Yeah, I'm teeing you
Yeah,
up right here.
yeah, that's huge. That was
This
a tee
is-
up.
This
I'll
is
take it.
going into the
Oh, my.
category of why you should work with a local broker. So,
What a good question.
like, stem off that. Explain that.
Yeah, that was so good. So what Steve's asking me is legally, right? Oh, let's just play it like this. I have a terrific client who owns an oceanfront, and I have another client who owns an oceanfront. 2 clients. We've represented them, right? One of them we did the purchase, and the other we did the sale. So we had a listing. Both of them ultimately have been Saunders listings.
Okay.
Both of those families are in a position now where they kind of need to sell the units, oceanfront units, but they're not going to list it. They're not going to list the house. Like, I'm their agent. They would list with me if they were going to list, but it's just not the right time, right? Timing's right. Family's not. So, but Ed, if you could bring me a buyer at this number, I'd be really interested. That's an off-market pocket listing to top brokers who know dozens of them. So, as an agent doing this for 20 years, and working with people who do it, there's so many good opportunities.
Yeah.
So back to your answer, working with a top broker accesses you more just than that broker. The broker's team, the broker's agencies, the broker's...
It's the history of relationships
Exactly.
that you build
Thank you.
over and over the years where, everyone has a home. There's so many people that have homes out here in the Hamptons, but not everybody wants to list publicly, but everything's for sale. They want to sell, and they want to know, like, if you bring up the perfect offer and the perfect buyer, yes, I'll transact. So, yes, there's inventory that appears on these websites, but there's also inventory that the agent's knowledge, it's in their head that they know it. So when the inventory was low, it's best to work with a local broker because they're going to tell you the good and the bad of the listings that exist and some listings that may not be publicly available yet, and maybe coming on in a month or so, or a property that may never come on, but is also available. So it's in their best interest to work with the broker.
Totally agree.
But also there's a team too that's associated with a broker. It's not just, hey, it's me, the broker. There's a team behind them. And Ed, you're here at Saunders. Obviously you have the team here at
Unlimited.
Saunders. But what else do you have access to?
All of us have all the top agents, especially Saunders agents, which is why I'm here, the best firm. But it's not like the best on the planet marketing only. It's that, and then you get Teresa Quigley doing land use dig downs on a survey to capture value, or Chris Minardi figuring out how to use connections within the town to solve a problem or a future solution that might open up an opportunity. Those are unlimited advantages for those who take the time and choose a good broker and then work with that broker over years. Like we the good brokers at Saunders, because Saunders kind of waits for the experienced agent and then brings them in. We don't need dozens and dozens and hundreds of customers. We want terrific raving fans who are serviced to the nines.
Yeah.
That's our window.
Yeah.
I love that niche about us. So to me, I'm not hustling a sale and I'm not hustling a purchase. I'm trying to hustle building generational wealth with all my clients and my friends because I love this land. That's what I love. It's
a local community out here, and we all work locally, right? The staff here at Saunders, they're all local. They all live in the community, and it's all in on the Hamptons. And that's really goes a long way, in my opinion, from the charities, the events, the sponsorships that we do here in the Hamptons. And it provides
the firm in general really gives back. I would say the firm gives back more locally than any other business out here.
It's really a good thing, like especially when you want to find out the local information about a property, the local story about the town, the local, history, and speak to local employees and local agents. Like, it goes a long way to get the real story.
I'll add to that, right? So as a raving Saunders member, right? My daughter Marilyn comes back from Miami on her first year, takes an internship last year.
Yeah,
absolutely loves it. Clicks with a bunch of people, gets to know the brokers, gets to know the model, gets to know how to business is done in the community. Comes back this summer, and she steps right into the same thing with a little more experience, a little bigger role.
Way more experience. She's killing it.
Tons of other people.
She's huge.
The whole team is like rocking, and I'm just thrilled that they're all community members, right? They're all going to come back if it's meant to be. Like, let's say it like this: Ed Petrie, great broker, and the Daytons, right? I was at Sotheby's prior to Saunders. I came here because we're better. So too did Andrew. But my point is, those two agents have children who have come home from college and are now running real estate companies and rocking. And it's just good to see the community bring kids back, you know what I mean? And then have jobs to do when they're here.
It's great. And we love the interns. We have plenty of interns that join the Saunders team every summer. They come back from their school and they find a home here. Yeah. And I love to see where they go from here. So many of them have moved on to, corporate jobs, bigger their own businesses, some of them as well. And it's like, to have that great experience is pretty powerful to us, that we get to like work with these interns summer over summer and see where they grow from the experiences that they learn. And it's a pleasure to have Marilyn, your daughter Ed, here working for us this summer.
It's a joy.
And
that's the best give back.
Love growing the talent.
Of all the
give back, that is just the best give back to be home local talent. Thank you guys.
A lot of internships are always like that, like we're gonna get a coffee or whatever. But like Marilyn's running the Instagram account.
They're not just getting coffee.
No, it's a legit experience.
yeah.
I wish I had that kind of intern.
Because we can trust them because we know them. We know who they are. You know what I mean?
It's really great.
And it's just great to see. It just makes the world go around, being able to, train the youth. And we also learn from them as well. As much as, we're educating these interns.
They got a keen eye.
I learn from them.
Yeah,
they teach me things. And I'm always a student. And I'm always learning. And I love learning from them and then teaching them what I know and seeing where they grow. So it's a pleasure to have them. And it just reinforces the team that we have here at Saunders to just help grow the brand and the business out here in the Hamptons.
That's great.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
You just made me think of something, because something I observe at Saunders, and I feel that it's unique to Saunders, but I would like to know your perspective. Is I always notice that during the meetings on Wednesdays, or just your interaction with other agents in the office that are Saunders agents, I do feel that you share information much more intimately with Saunders agents than you would with an outside agent. Would you say that that's accurate? Can you touch on that?
Yeah, I can.
Because it's only something I've really observed. I'd be interested in your perspective. I think it's
built into the culture of the company. I really do. I think it's built into the culture of the company because Andrew and Colleen, when they built this, Andrew was a top Sotheby's agent, left because of poor marketing, poor deliverables, poor experience for his clients. So he built a model around 100% serving thy client, and they haven't wavered. So from building that model, you only bring in agents who can prioritize serving the client. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I mean? The whole firm's been built around this model of bringing that kind of agent in. So that kind of agent's coming from another firm, a bigger corporate firm, got beat up a bit, figured it out, understood it, figured out how to sell. Then they come to Saunders really to retire here. And then they share information because they know that's the more fun business model.
Yeah, it's like
the
a
more
family,
model.
and it's like a sense of community here within the brokerages and the brokers here that they could feel comfortable to share information and to help one another to achieve the ultimate goal of just, selling a property, and finding the right property for their buyer. So it's great. Good observation, Dave, that you see that because that's kind of like what we created here at Saunders, like this infrastructure, if you may.
Well, if you want to roll me into the next one, because I'm going to go right into the sell side.
Go for it.
I'm on the Saunders trajectory, but the model, not just on serving thy client on the buy side, right? On the sell side, the trick is, if you own a house, to understand the value of the house. So in my opinion, as a past corporate agent who came to the higher form of realty, instead of asking you to list your house at a certain number based on a Zillow's estimate, my goal is to go sit at the kitchen table and get to know the value of your asset and hopefully assets, so we get to know each other. And then I'm going to provide a service free of charge, even if you hire me or don't hire me, to do your New York Intel report. That's going to access you to both me and then Andrew and Steve and Quigley and Minardi, which is just this unlimited resource of like, wow, really? My house is valued at that? Thank you, Ed. Right? We've performed a service based on the Saunders model that delivers almost all the answers you need, and you haven't even listed.
What is it? Go. What is a New York title land
it
use
is
report?
Andrew's solution to moving deals as quickly as possible in 2023. That's what it is. By bringing in a title company, every deal must clear title before it closes. So if you can get in front
all transactions, not just at Saunders.
Exactly. By front running a New York title report, as a buyer, you tell your Saunders agent to run a report on a house you want to buy, or you're thinking about value added for the house you own, have your broker at Saunders do an intel report. Once you have that, it changes your whole life, really. Because then all of a sudden you could call family and say, guys, did you know we might be worth this, or we could do that? So that's an added value,
Really helps clear up any issues. And just get a better understanding of what you're selling. Because so many times agents talk about this all the time. Know what it is you're selling before you list a property. Exactly. Agents list a property. The questions come in from the other brokers or from buyers about what you could do with the property. Is, can I do this? Can I do that? And a lot of the times, some agents, they don't know the answer. And it's really bad because then those people move on to another property. So it's really important to have everything figured out. Once you hit launch, the questions come in, you have quick responses, you have all the answers, you have the land use report. And again, it goes to a seamless transaction. Once you get that offer and acceptance to in contract, having that land use report makes that time difference basically cut in half, if not more.
If not more.
Because now the attorneys don't have to pull those docs. They have them right in front of them.
And it puts you as a broker.
And they can advise their client, yes, excellent. You can move forward with signing this contract. I'm comfortable with it. Everything looks good. Proceed, and congratulations on the purchase of your new home. So those are very valuable. It's a very valuable tool that we have here at Saunders, accessible to the Saunders agents and all agents. Just New York Title. I mean, they're the sponsor of this podcast, so there's a reason why they are, because they are the best.
So speaking, let's talk a little bit about the inventory. What do you got as far as the numbers, and then we'll get Ed's take on that.
The data is really interesting this week. We've been analyzing it a lot, and this week in particular is pretty interesting. So there were 19 listings that went into contract this year. Last year there were 18. Pretty much flat, small increase of 5%. Last year, there were 30 listings that went into contract, so it's a decrease of 37%. The breakdown of these 19 transactions, there was 2 between 10 and 20 million, 1 between 6 and 8 million, 1 between 4 and 6 million, 6 between 2 and 4 million, 8 under 2 million. New listings coming onto the market. There were 25 new listings that came onto the market, so that increases the inventory by 6 listings. The inventory this week, with those 25 new listings, the breakdown is 1 over 20 million, 2 between 10 and 20 million, 2 between 8 and 10 million, 3 between 6 and 8 million, 1 between 4 and 6, 7 between 2 and 4, and 9 under 2 million. So those 25 listings, there's new listings in all price categories. The inventory stands at 1,752 total listings, with 1,285 active and 467 in contract. So an interesting week. Week over week, we always compare the numbers. You can find them all on our website, Saunders.com, or also Hamptons.com. They're published there as well. So if you want to look back in weeks past, they're all there. Look through the reports. Any questions, you can always reach out to us.
So Ed, what's your take on those numbers? I mean, when you hear what this week looked like, what's your reaction?
I think the one takeaway was we already hit on the 5 of the 7 weeks is an uptick. I think the trend is turning. I wouldn't say we're in any kind of a, the COVID heyday is gone, but I don't think we're going to any kind of a over lull. I don't think we'll over lull here. I think we'll just stay. Here will be the new normal, and transactions will look a lot more like what you just said. Like if you really do the math there, if you slowed that down and saw it, there was 1 under 10, there was 1 under 20, there was 1 under 8, and then when you got to 3 and down, it was 14. 14 trades under $3 million bucks. Exactly what I was saying. So if all the buzz is under 3, and unfortunately, I bet a majority of those transactions were people buying houses that they didn't totally love, but that was the only offering, and they were willing to make it better. See what I'm saying? Versus like what I think a lot of spec guys and gals are trying to get the bigger, longer transactions, which might be a little scarier now. I don't know if I want to be holding so many square footage right now when the demand might be leaning a little more towards smaller and tighter. So I think smaller, tighter, well done homes to the 9s like they do in Sag Harbor on the smaller streets is a model that will be growing massively. Yeah, exactly. Love that.
And then lastly,
L&W Market is the coolest little market, and they got the best quesadillas in town.
He's the nicest guy ever,
the best quesadillas, I'm telling you. Those quesadillas, it's unbelievable.
And also they got a lot of gluten-free allergy options.
So go to the L&W Market.
It's great. So I go there for lunch every now and then. I had an amazing soup, chicken kebab thing that I had, and it was like $6 or something. It was really good. And then Ed, I also wanted to ask you about your wife's playful learning business. What's going on with that?
Excellent. Thank you very much for asking. So 43 Pantago, across the street from the post office in East Hampton. She's in a great space. The team has never been stronger. She's full for the fall. There's a few select spots for summer, and reach at any time. She's got the 2K. 3K-year-olds down to a science, and it's just a super special experience. So if you're interested, that's playfullearning.com. Mariah's my wife, and that's a great story. So thanks for asking, Dave.
There you go. Right on. Ed, thank you for joining us. We'll call that a podcast today. That's Thursday, everyone. I'm Andrew Dowd. Have a great weekend, and that is what's happening in the Hamptons.